Hey BioTeam. So you guys have learned that in order for a chemical reaction to occur, in order for reactant molecules to chemically react into product molecules, they need to collide with each other. So in order for reactant molecules to successfully collide, a couple of things have to go right. First of all, the reactant molecules have to hit each other at the right angle. That is, they have to knock into each other at such a way that the product molecules can be formed. So in this case, these two peroxide molecules would have to knock into each other at an angle so that two water molecules could be formed and a single oxygen molecule could be formed. But they also have to collide with enough force in order to break apart the reactant molecules and form the product molecules. If either of those two things does not happen, that is, the molecules collide at the wrong angle or they don't collide with enough force, we say that an unsuccessful collision has occurred. And so scientists will call the molecule that's formed just at the moment of collision, for a split second, this molecule that's halfway between the reactants and products, they'll call that the transition state. And they call the amount of energy that's required to collide the reactants and transition them into the products, they call that the activation energy. That's the energy that's needed for a reaction to occur. And so biologists can show this process of reaction in an energy diagram. So let's say we have our reactant molecules. These are our unstable peroxide molecules. And we want to react them into more stable products, water molecules and an oxygen molecule. Well, in order for that to occur, we'd first have to collide these molecules together with enough energy to form the transition state and transition the molecules into the more stable products. So we have to add energy to the reactants. We have to collide them together with enough energy to put them through this transition state and transition them into more stable products. And if these reactants don't get that activation energy, then they don't make this transition, then they don't transition into the products, and the reaction doesn't occur. Now, the thing with living organisms is that we don't have the luxury of waiting around for reactant molecules to collide at the perfect angle and with the perfect amount of energy. In our example here, peroxide molecules are actually toxic to cells, and so if our cells aren't able to make this reaction happen quickly, the peroxide would poison the cell. And so what our bodies will do to help transition reactants into products faster is they'll use enzymes. They'll use enzymes to speed up reactions. And the way an enzyme can do that is that the active site on the enzyme puts reactant molecules in perfect positions to collide. It helps make sure that they're colliding at the right angle and with the right velocity. We say that the shape of the enzyme helps stabilize the transition state from the reactant molecule into the product molecules. And so as a result, enzymes lower the activation energy needed for a reaction to occur. So if this was the amount of energy that was required to collide our reactants into products without an enzyme, adding an enzyme to the reaction makes it so that the reactants have an easier time colliding. There's less energy that's needed for the reactants to successfully collide with each other. And that's it. At this point, you guys have some practice problems. We'll see you next class.